Hello, I'm Chase Southard. I'm the engineering manager for the Progressive Delivery team. What I'd like to share with you today is a tool that I put together called Doctor for the Handbook project. This tool might be helpful in validating that you have all the proper working versions of the dependencies required to run the handbook locally. There's a handbook page that outlines the installation process of all the required dependencies, but there's no process yet to check that you have all the right pieces. And as I've seen it in recent weeks, that the helping others through handbook challenges, that there is some drift that happens as we add new dependencies or change the version of Ruby required or something else to make the handbook operate locally on your machine. So what I'd like to share with you today is this script called Doctor that I've proposed to add to the handbook. And what Doctor does is it performs checks of the installation of Ruby and those related tools. Currently, that's all it does, but it can be easily extended to check for other dependencies that are required for like Node.js or Yarn. This is just the first iteration and a place to start. And it attempts to solve the problems that I've seen helping other people through the challenges of running the handbook locally. So here you see my terminal window. I'm in the handbook directory. And let's say that I just pulled the latest changes, and before running other scripts like the release post assembler or something similar that runs locally and follows some process, I just want to check to make sure that my local version of things are put together correctly. So I'm going to run bin doctor. And the first thing we get back outside of the preamble there at the beginning is that it says you have a Ruby version mismatch. And what that's saying is that the version of Ruby you're running, in this case 2.6.5, does not meet the version that is required for the handbook to run. There is a version file in the handbook that describes what version is required, and that's what I'm checking against. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to install that version of Ruby, ASDF install Ruby 2.6.6. And so now what's going to happen is we're going to download and install and compile Ruby. I'm using a tool called ASDF. You might be using a tool called RVM or RBNV even. That's kind of secondary to what I'm trying to show here. So I'm going to pause now and edit this so you don't have to watch the installation proceed. Okay, so some time has passed and we've installed Ruby 2.6.6 here, and then we've got some errors that we're just going to ignore for the moment. Everything is fine. I'm going to make sure that we are running the correct version of Ruby has just been installed, and here we can see in my prompt that that's true. I'm going to clear the screen to make things a little more legible, and then we'll run bin doctor again. Okay, great. New information. I'll scroll up here. It says you have the proper version of Ruby installed and or selected. Great, check. The Ruby library manager called Bundler has been installed. Check. We have some warnings here about the versions of Bundler and things and some of the dependencies, which we don't need to worry about at the moment. Don't worry about that for now. And then we have this new scary error message here in red. It says the following gems are missing. It has a long list of dependencies that it's expecting with some instructions at the bottom that says install the missing gems with bundle install. And so we'll go ahead and do that now. I'll do the same trick where we're going to pause the video while all of these compile. It might take like 5 or 6 minutes. So bundle, install, and they start off here, and we'll quickly install out here, and we'll come back in just a minute. Okay, so we're here. More libraries have been installed through Bundler, and we're waiting on, I think, one of the last gems that has a native extension that is being built. It'll just take another few more seconds, and then we should be complete. Okay, and we're back. So we've completed the installation of the gems that are defined for the Handbook project, and they've been installed successfully. Everything's green, no error messages, which is great. And I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen again just to make it a little bit more tidy. So clear. And then, so now that we know that we have the right version of Ruby running, Bundler has been installed, and we've gone through some cycle that says all of our bundled gems are up to date. So let's just run Doctor one more time, just to be sure. Checkmark, checkmark. Your gem files dependencies are satisfied. So we don't have to install anything new. Everything is good. You can go about the rest of your day and do whatever tasks you were going to do here inside the handbook. And so, so there. I think this is a great first iteration. Happy to take feedback and see this become useful for people who may not be engineers in the GitLab team or anyone else for that matter. So there you go. Thank you.